You are watching Mathematics Simplified. My name is Joseph Jacob. Today we are introducing variation. Variation is an interesting topic in mathematics because it is something we have to face on daily basis. It is very practical and applies to our day-to-day life. But for you to understand variation, there are two important things you need to know. The first one is variables. The second one is constant. What is a variable? A variable is a mathematical figure that is not steady, that can change from one number to another, from one value to another, while constant remains the same. It does not change. For us to further explain the difference between variable and constant, let's use the formula for finding the area of a circle. The formula for finding the area of a circle A equal to pi r squared. Let's concentrate more on the right hand side of the equation. We have pi, we have r, we have squared. What is the r in that equation? The r is the radius. What then is a radius? A radius is the distance between the center of a circle to any point on the circumference of the circle. That is the radius. Do you think that the radius will remain the same no matter the size of the circle we are considering? To answer that question, let's take two circles of different sizes. Circle A is small, while circle B is bigger. Do you think that the distance between the center of both circles to their circumferences are the same? Definitely not. The smaller circle A will have a smaller radius. The bigger circle B will have a bigger radius. So you will agree with me that radius is not constant. Rather, it is dependent on the size of the circle. So that is what variable means. Radius is not constant, it's a variable because depending on the size of the circle, a radius might change. Now, let's talk about constant. Unlike radius, constant will remain the same. Let's go back to that equation. The pi in this equation is constant because it remains its value 22/7. It doesn't matter the size of the radius. It doesn't matter the size of the circle in which we want to find the area. The pi will remain 22/7. So in this formula, the radius is the variable. The pi is the constant. With these examples, I hope when we talk about variables and constants, we'll understand what is being said. Let's give more attention to our topic today, variation. Now, in variation, we are often looking at two or more variables. We want to look at the relationship between, let's say, variable A and variable B. But for us to get their relationship, we need to get a constant. You see why we need to first of all understand what constant and variables are. Let's talk about types of variation. There are about 5 types of variation. We have the direct, the indirect, the joint, the combined, and the partial variations. But for the sake of this video, we'll concentrate on the first 2 types of variation. The reason is because these 2 types of variations are common, and as students, they are the ones often asked in exams. The direct variation and the indirect variation. What is a direct variation? A direct variation is a type of variation whereby the 2 variables being considered increase at the same time and decrease at the same time. What I mean is, if we are considering variable A and variable B, when the value of variable A is increasing, the value of variable B will also increase. When the value of variable A is decreasing, the value of variable B will also decrease. That is what is called direct variation. Let's look at some real life examples that will help us to understand direct variation. If a man works for 1 hour and he gets $5, and he works for 2 hours, he gets $10. He works for 3 hours, he gets $15. You will now understand that even if he works for 100 hours, you can calculate the total amount of money he will get, isn't it? You are able to do that because in this situation, you've succeeded in finding a constant that relates the hour of work and the money paid. In this case, the constant here is $5. For every additional hour he works, he gets additional $5. So as the hours worked is increasing, the amount of money he will get will also be increasing. It is a direct variation. If he works for lesser hour, the money he will get will also reduce. That is direct variation. In the example we considered about a circle and a radius, you will now understand that the radius of a circle is a direct variation to the size of the circle. If the size of the circle is big, the radius of the circle will also be big. If the circle is small, definitely the radius will be small as well. Let's talk about the second type of variation. It is the indirect variation. It is also known as inverse variation. In this case, if you have variable A and B, as the A is increasing, the B is reducing. If the A is reducing, the B will be increasing. In economics, there is what they call the law of demand. The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. The lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. This principle of demand is an inverse variation. Let's explain it further in a way you will understand it. Let's assume I spend $20 every week buying bread, and that $20 do buy 5 loaves of bread. It then means that a loaf of bread is $4. If the price of a loaf of bread increased from $4 to $10, with my $20, I will not be able to buy 5 loaves again. I will buy only 2, $10 to make it $20. So for the price of bread to have increased, it have lowered the number of breads I can buy. On the other hand, if the price of bread reduced from $4 to $2, with that same $20, I can now buy 10 loaves of bread. The price of a loaf of bread has reduced, the quantity I can buy has increased. So this is an inverse variation or indirect variation. This is where the curtain falls on the introduction to variation. From our next video, we'll start with direct variations. We'll solve problems on direct variations. Relax, because we will simplify it as usual in a way that you will definitely understand it. It is very interesting and simple as well. Until then, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.